Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the weekend wrap. I'm gonna keep this one fairly brief, but I was 5 and 6 yesterday. I got all of my predictions and methods of prediction right to within a round of each other. So if I go quickly to the Matchroom card, I predicted that Jordan Thompson would go the distance and get a UD decision against Vasyl Duka. I didn't predict that he would be in that much trouble towards rounds 9 and 10. I mean, I knew Duka would be tough and durable and would obviously give him some stuff that he hasn't dealt with before, but I never saw him getting, you know, essentially punched up in the last 2 rounds and knocked down, you know, basically getting saved by the bell at the end of round 10. But as I said to someone in one of my group chats, they was like, oh, what's Jordan Thompson doing? I said, learning a very valuable lesson. That's probably the best thing that could have happened to him, because now you know that you're not invincible, you're not, you know, sort of, you're not this wrecking machine. You've got stuff to work on, so that's going to inspire him to go back to the gym and make sure that he tightens up on certain, you know, issues and defensive lapses and lapses in concentration. He's got to stay switched on for 10 rounds at all times. I didn't see all of the fight because I was having a madness at one of my local corner stores. It's another story for another time. But yeah, you know, good for him. He's got another victory under the belt. He's got some stuff to work on. He's got things to improve on, which he knows now. So that should make him a much better fighter moving forward. So yeah, big ups to the win for Jordan. Secondly, the second prediction I had was that Sandy Ryan would do more than enough to have a convincing victory over Erica Farias in the rematch. Some people were thinking that she would stop Farias. I said no, I didn't really see it happening. I predicted for the UD this time, not a majority or anything like that, and lo and behold, yeah, she did a lot better than before. She boxed and moved, which I said that I think she would do for like the first half to the first 6 rounds of the fight, and then potentially maybe try and take it to Erica afterwards once you've kind of made the older woman, you know, walk around and chase you around the ring a little bit and have to move those legs. But ultimately she kind of stayed just sticking and moving for the majority of the entire fight, barring I think rounds 9 and 10 where she did try and sort of stay in there a little more and exchange with Erica, which is what Erica wanted, because she trusted her chin, and that was the only time she was going to be able to get to Sandy, you know, being the smaller girl, smaller reach and everything. Like, it's just a lot harder to get on the inside and to swarm her if she's moving about. So well done to Sandy. Aesthetically, she looks in a lot better shape. She's definitely been in the gym fine-tuning her body. Like, she looked defined, she looks sleek and not sort of fleshy as she done in some of her more previous fights. So whatever she's doing, she's been taking it serious, and I'm looking forward to kind of what she does next. I don't agree with the Chantel Cameron call-outs just yet from you know, from Clifton, but you know, maybe down the line it's definitely not going to be a bad fight, but I wouldn't be going down that route just yet personally. Now with Dalton Smith, I said that I think he's going to get him out around about round 7. I said 7 to 9, but I said, you know, round 7. Ultimately he did it in round 6, so I'm gonna still claim that one because I was within 1 round of it. And yeah, I didn't give much of a breakdown beforehand. I don't need to give much of one now. He was just levels above. I thought Summer Mason was going to try and go for it a lot more, but he was very gun shy, and basically tried to sort of counter his way in against Dalton Smith, but that was definitely the wrong tactics. As someone like him, when you're not on his level technically, you gotta basically just go for it, try ambush him, try catch him with something that he's not set up to receive. Sam didn't do that and just pretty much took a sort of sustained beating for 6 rounds. Well, okay, not sustained in the sense that he was just getting pummeled round after round after round, but he was just getting out jabbed, he was getting outlanded at the backhand. It was, it just wasn't that much of a competitive fight, nor should it have been if Dalton Smith was anything that we thought he was. And ultimately, that's what happened. So congrats to Dalton Smith. Looking forward to seeing what he does moving forward. Now, the only fight I got wrong is the next one. It was also the fight I was most looking forward to for the entire night, which is Maurice Hooker against Blair Cobbs. Now, I wish I had have seen some of the pre-fight talk and build up around sort of Maurice Hooker. Obviously, he's a former world champion, so you say to yourself, he should have way too much for Blair Cobbs. He's also the naturally bigger guy, taller, rangier. He came in overweight for the welterweight limit, so they actually changed the fight to a super welterweight fight and did it at a catch weight of 150 pounds, which is what he came in at. Okay, I didn't realize that he, I think, only been training for the fight for like 4 weeks. Like, it was announced 4 weeks ago, but I thought, he had known about it a little while before that, was training. I didn't know that his, one of his photographers or something, or one of the photographers he knows, that he's been at all of his fights, Miss Stacy, someone that he's really close with, died. Like a week ago, I think it was, or a week and a half ago, and that his mind just wasn't all there. Like, I didn't know any of this until, he was coming to the ring. So, yeah, and ultimately, everyone knows that I'm a big fan of Blair the Flair Cobbs, purely because he's entertaining. Everything he does, he's off the wall, he's out there, but he's good to watch, and he's not usually in boring fights. And this one definitely wasn't boring. He had Mo Hooker down 3 times in the first 2 rounds, and he was just, he was outlanding him. He was countering him. Like, Mo Hooker's jab was very lazy and very languid, almost like he had no energy. When they got on the inside and traded, for the most times, Blair was just quicker to the punch. Maurice was getting caught with his chin in the air often. He basically looked like a shot fighter for the first 6.5 rounds of the fight. But from kind of round 7 onwards, bear in mind, he actually hasn't been in the ring for like a year and a half now, or near enough that, coming off injuries and whatnot. But like from round 7, it's almost like whatever ring rust he kind of had started to shake off. And if he had started the fight in the condition he was in, sort of round 7, round 8, if he had started the fight that way, he would have probably won the fight. Because as a boxer, he's actually a better technician with, better dimensions and a better style to try and beat Blair Cobbs. But Blair Cobbs is actually he's a good little fighter, to be honest. Like, he's not a world beater. He's not like on those world levels, in my opinion, but he's got good fundamentals. He's got great athleticism, and he's very evasive, and he's very quick. So I've now got a new training set up. So he was in there with a new trainer, and I guess that's working for him, because he just pretty much dominated the fight from round 1 up to, say, round 8, whereby he just sort of decided, safety first. I'm wide on the scorecards at this point. There's no reason for me to take unnecessary risks, and that's what he done. So I put it on Twitter yesterday, and I maintained that I said by the end of 2023, but no, by either the end of this year, December time, or like February, March, April time next year, I want Conor Benn and Blair the Flair Cobbs. That's the fight I want, because that to me is going to be a highly entertaining fight. You can have it on this side of the the Atlantic, or you could have it in on the other side in America. I don't care. I want to see that fight. Those two together, the styles I think would mesh well. The trash talk and the build up would be fun. Everything for that just is something that I think is gold, and I want that fight. So Eddie, if you can see this, or if someone can clip this up and show it to Eddie, like, let's make that happen. That's a fight worth doing, in my opinion. Then we had, who was it? Marlen Esparza versus Eva Guzman. Now Marlen, look, she's a very, very good technical boxer. You know, textbook. She's definitely like got that pro amateur style, and she uses it well. She has not got any power. She can't really generate it, but she can, and she stays on the inside way too much against all opponents, which will probably cause her problems if what I've heard they're trying to make the next fight for her is. That's not where you want to be. You definitely just want to be sticking and moving, but the problem is she has no gas tank. As good a boxer as she is, she can't sustain her style and her method for you know, for the full 10 rounds at a decent pace, which is why she's been holding her feet, just trying to sort of trade with people and, you know, trying to stay in the pocket. She's not defensive enough to do that against the elite people, so she has to work on the gas tank somehow, and I don't know how she's going to do it, but she needs to, or she needs to find a way to be able to get on the inside and just hold and lean on people and maybe tire them out and use that Tyson Fury type tactic, because that might be her future. She's definitely got the top half frame for that. But again, I predicted that it would be a UD decision. Some people were saying, oh, she might even be able to get the knockout because the other girls are really a lot smaller than her. No, she just hasn't got that in the locker. So that was another one I got correct. And then finally, it was Vergil Ortiz against Michael McKinson. Now, with this one, I said that Vergil Ortiz would win in, I said round 10, and he got it done in round 9. So again, I'm going to take that because I was within 1 round of my prediction. I said that, you know, McKinson would make it awkward, and, you know, for the first sort of 4 or 5 rounds, Vergil would just have a bit of trouble kind of getting to him, but he would take him from sort of round 5 onwards and, you know, just apply a sustained beating and sustained pressure, and, you know, McKinson would either get pulled out or he'd get knocked out sort of around that time. And that's pretty much what happened, but he actually caught up to him a lot quicker than I thought. He caught up to him from round, to be honest, in the second round, he sort of got outworked in the first for me, but he came back, and then from round 2 and round 3, he was pretty much on McKinson. He was, you know, he wasn't having it all his own way, but he was, you know, he was pretty much finding the shots he needed to find from sort of, yeah, round 2, round 3. And then it was just literally McKinson was in a survival stick and move, hit and run type mode, trying not to take too much damage. He was avoiding the backhands quite well, ducking under them, slipping away from them, or trying to move to his left hand side to avoid the right hand. Sorry, no, move to his right hand side, sorry, to avoid that right hand from Ortiz. And rather than sort of realizing that McKinson kept ducking low, rather than throwing the right hand or feinting it like he was going to throw it up top and then throwing it to the body, so when McKinson's dipping down to avoid it, he would actually sort of dip into it. He kept sort of going for the head, which is something that he's probably going to have to learn to work on moving forward. But ultimately, it was another good performance. He's still a bit too one-dimensional for someone like a Terence Crawford, but it would be great to see him against like someone like Boots Ennis next. Basically, the two of them go after each other, and then the winner gets the champion. I think that would be great. Him against Stanionis or Butayev for his next fight while he's waiting for a shot, because I don't think he's going to get it next unless the Undisputed breaks down, which, to be honest, could happen. But that would be my prediction if I'm being totally honest. But yeah, done the job. It was a good entertaining night of boxing. The next gen card, I haven't seen all of it, so I'm going to watch the rest of it later on today. So I've got it fresh for Tuesday's breakdown. But yeah, the Golden Boy card was also, you know, it was a nice little fun one, and that's all I really care about. Obviously, shout out Bektemir Melikuziev. He got his opponent out of there as well, but I might talk about all of that later on. I'm gonna have another video out this evening. Shock, horror, I know I don't normally do 2 in a day, but I'm gonna have another episode of Hardcore Casual out because some interesting stuff happened over the last few days. I want to talk about that before the weekend's over. So I will leave this one here, and thank you very much for watching. Yeah, stay tuned to the channel for more content coming up later on.